Most people think a dash cam is just a camera. Harmless, legal everywhere, no different from a phone mounted on your windshield. Most people are wrong. In some countries, that same camera can get you fined. In one, it doesn't even need to be recording. Most places on Earth don't restrict a dash cam at all. It's normal, expected, no different from having one in your pocket. This video isn't about those places. 7 countries where that assumption stops being true. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which side of that line you're standing on. Let's start with the one where the camera isn't even the problem. Number 1. United Arab Emirates. Here's what most people assume about strict countries. If the camera itself isn't the problem, nothing about using it is. In the UAE, that's mostly true, but not entirely. Dubai police have publicly confirmed there's no law against owning or using a dash cam. That part is settled. Here's what most people don't know. The risk isn't the camera, it's the upload button. Posting footage publicly, especially if it shows identifiable people without consent, can trigger fines from 5,000 dirhams up to 500,000 dirhams. That's $1,360 up to $136,000, or 3 to 6 months in prison, under Article 378 of the Penal Code. So, in the UAE, owning the camera is fine. Sharing what it recorded is where the real risk lives. A couple of countries over, the condition is smaller, but it's still a condition. Which brings us to number 2, France and Belgium. Here's what most people assume once ownership is settled: that using the camera however you want comes with it. France and Belgium both allow private ownership and use without issue. No permit, no restriction on recording. Here's the condition: it only shows up the moment you share the footage. In France, faces and license plates have to be blurred before anything gets posted. In Belgium, you need consent from anyone identifiable in the clip before sharing it. Different mechanism, same idea. Record freely, share carefully. France and Belgium at least drew a line. The next country hasn't decided where to draw one yet. Number 3. India. Here's what most people assume when a country doesn't ban something: that it must be fully allowed. In India, that's not quite right either. There's no specific dashcam law. General recording is allowed, but privacy considerations apply the moment footage involving identifiable people gets shared. The honest answer here is that it's still evolving. Not settled, not banned, just undecided. India hasn't decided yet. Germany decided twice and came up with 2 different answers. Number 4. Germany. Here's what most people assume about the law. If something's illegal, it can't be used against you in court either. Illegal and inadmissible feel like the same thing. In Germany, they're not. The ruling behind this came from an actual crash caught on a dashcam that had been running continuously. Since that 2018 Federal Court of Justice decision, dashcam footage is generally admissible in German civil court. Judges will look at it. But the same ruling found something else. Continuous recording generally violates German and EU data protection law anyway, so the footage can be illegal to have made and still usable in court at the same time. Germany treats those as 2 separate questions with 2 separate answers. The court even pointed toward a workaround: a camera that only saves footage in short cyclical loops, or only when triggered by an impact, stands a better chance of holding up than one that just runs all the time. Germany found a workaround. The next 2 countries didn't bother looking for one. If a recording can be illegal and still used against you in the same breath, you'll want to know what's coming in the next 3. Hit subscribe. This channel keeps finding what your dash cam isn't telling you. Number 5. Luxembourg and Switzerland. Here's what most people assume once a country allows civilian recording: that every neighboring country basically works the same way. Luxembourg doesn't. Dashcam use in private vehicles is explicitly prohibited, and authorities have been clear: tourists are not exempt. "I didn't know, I'm just visiting," isn't a defense here. Switzerland reaches a similar place from a different direction. There's no outright ban written down, but privacy law gives anyone caught on camera the legal right to know they're being recorded and to consent to it. In practice, that makes continuous dashcam recording a ban in most real situations. Authorities in both countries advise the same thing: remove the camera before you cross the border. 2 countries that quietly decided dashcams don't belong in a car at all. One country turned that same logic into a much more specific, much more expensive problem. Which brings us to number 6. Austria. Here's what most people do when they see a headline fine number. Assume it's the number that actually gets charged. Reports on Austria cite fines up to 25,000 euros for illegal dashcam use. That number is real. Here's what most people don't know. This isn't hypothetical. In September 2018, Austria's Data Protection Authority reviewed a dashcam that recorded continuously any time the car was in motion. No accident had happened. Other road users were being filmed with no reasonable expectation of it. The DPA applied a balancing of interests test, ruled the device failed it, and fined the owner 220 euros. Both numbers are true. They're just not the same thing. One is the ceiling. The other is what actually happened to an actual person in an actual case. The reason any of this applies at all goes deeper than a traffic rule. Austria's privacy protections predate GDPR and go further than it. This isn't just an EU compliance issue, it's constitutional. Austria will fine you for what your camera records. The last country on this list doesn't even need it to be recording. Number 7. Portugal. Here's what every country so far has had in common. They regulate what your dashcam records or what you do with the footage afterward. The camera itself was never the crime. Portugal breaks that pattern completely. Here's what most people don't know. Portugal's Data Protection Authority points to a specific rule in the country's privacy law, the Portuguese version of GDPR, Europe's big rulebook on who's allowed to record you and what they can do with it. That rule restricts cameras from continuously recording public roads. Their position, a device capable of that recording is enough to create exposure, switched off, in the glove box, in the trunk, doesn't matter. That position isn't legally settled. The law carries an exemption for purely personal use, and courts would weigh individual cases rather than apply a blanket rule. But it's the position actually being enforced right now. Reported fines start around 500 euros for individuals, 1,000 euros for businesses. Though, unlike Austria's number, these figures come from travel insurance guidance, not the legal filing itself. Here's the part that makes this genuinely dangerous for a traveler. Drive across the border from Spain, where dash cams are completely legal, into Portugal, and the exact same device in the exact same car becomes a legal problem. Nothing about the camera changed, only the country underneath it did. Every other country on this list drew a line around what you do with a dashcam. Portugal drew the line around simply having one. 7 countries. 7 different lines drawn around the exact same object. Some regulate what your camera sees. Some regulate what you do with the footage. One regulates whether you're even allowed to have it in the car at all. You don't find out your dashcam is illegal until someone official is already asking you why you have it. That's the only thing that actually matters. Everything else depends entirely on where you're standing when it happens.